stop taking business advice from people who are stratospherically important. Gary Vaynerchuk, how can what he says be applicable to a corner shop florist, right? Maybe. He talks about his wine shop. They were turning over $6 million when he took over, right? Only look for marketing advice from people who are like 2 or 3 steps ahead of you, right? Look for business advice or look for teaching from somebody who is like a year older than you or 2 years older than you. Getting advice from multi-billionaires, absolutely not useful.
Hey guys, you asked for it, so you've got it. It's part 2 of Neil Simpson and what people don't get about marketing. So without further ado, let's bring him in.
Strategy, market research, email, marketing plan, display ads, PPC, content, social media, social ads, SEO. Welcome to the Kazlowski Digital Marketing Podcast.
So, what can we talk about today?
I don't want to say controversial, but I think after the first episode of the podcast that we did, it was the most popular one we've done thus far. I think that's been down to a lot of things that we discussed. The feedback, we've had some really good feedback, some interesting feedback, some feedback where we're saying that maybe we could a bit more context to how we can explain it and talk about it.
Okay.
I suppose at the end of the day, as marketers, we have to give the public what they want. So hence we've arrived here for part 2 of what people don't get about marketing.
Okay.
One of the things that you mentioned is touch points. So I suppose as marketers, and this is something I would teach as well, in theory, what we're saying with touch points is that we want to communicate with our target audience a number of times because they won't suddenly just see us and want to buy off us straight away. I'm not as great with the vocabulary as you, but for want of a better word, you said touch points are basically BS. And you had not an alternative theory, but you had a different way of putting it.
Okay. And to put it as simply as I possibly can, the thing about touch points is the often repeated phrase is the whole 13 touch points between stranger and sale. And that's from a study or a report produced by the American Marketing Association in about 20 years ago, give or take. Now, the world has changed a smidge in the last 20 years. So maybe marketing needs to change with it. So the key touch points, yes and no. I think the key thing to remember is that business is just a relationship. So business is a relationship, and it's like any relationship, it's about building rapport. It's about understanding the exchange of mutual value, and it's about so that everybody benefits, and about building a long-term relationship that goes on in the future. Marketing's not about who shows up, it's about who hangs around. Yeah. Okay. So this whole kind of thing. There's 13 touch points. What that doesn't take into account is the fact that those touch points are all different. I could see you at the bus stop every day for 20 years, and we could nod and we could smile, and I would have had thousands of touch points. Would I trust you anymore? No, because each iteration of our relationship has not moved forward. We've not developed any intensity in the relationship. It's not got deeper. And this is where the know, like, trust, buy kind of thing comes into play, because the same information that gets people to know you, see you at the bus stop, nodding every kind of day for 20 years, is not the kind of information that gets people to trust you. And that's to do with all kinds of things: shared understandings, value exchange, the reason why you do stuff, what our kind of mutual win state is at the end, and things like that. So at some point, you have to deepen the relationship. So for me, the notion of touch points is a little bit one-dimensional in the fact that, yep, you have to be in contact, but those touch points needs to be ever deepening of the relationship. Kaz, imagine we're dating, right? Because marketing is like dating, right?
Yeah.
Business is a relationship. The whole point is mutual exchange of value, getting to know each other, getting to have a real kind of understanding and swapping of value. If business is a relationship, then the beginning of any relationship is the dating phase. right? Where you're testing each other out, and are they for me? Do they believe what I believe? Do we share values? Have we got an understanding? All the things I mentioned before about shared kind of understanding of a win state, etc. If we went on a first date, right? Imagine, Kaz, go with me on this one. Imagine that we're on a first date, and I sit there and I go, Kaz, let me tell you how great I was yesterday. Let me tell you how amazing I was as a human yesterday. And then I'm gonna tell you how great I'm being right now. I'm gonna tell you how fabulous I am. And then when the dessert comes, I'm gonna tell you about how great I'm gonna be tomorrow. How long would it take you to get bored of that conversation?
Yeah, after a while, you're going to think, hang on, this is just.
Not even after a while, instantaneously. Because when we're dating, what we're looking for is mutual attraction. Because marketing is attraction, not persuasion. And this is the problem, is that what we see, what most people don't understand about marketing is that it's not bloody advertising. Advertising is a tiny, super useful and super targeted subset of marketing. It's like the National League. If you think about all of football in the UK, it's a tiny bit, very valuable, very useful. Wrexham did very well, but advertising is a tiny subset of marketing, right? But the thing is, the thing that we notice most of all is adverts. So most people at the beginning of their marketing journey think, oh, I just need to do however many touch points of adverts. And then all of a sudden, I've done the 13 touch points. I should have a massive audience. Incorrect. Because you're not building attraction. You're trying to build persuasion, right? Marketing is about relationship building. It's the dating bit. It's the listening more than talking. It's the, oh, Kaz, I like your earrings and your fabulous high heel shoes. Where did you get those from? Tell me a little bit more about yourself. Tell me a little bit more about you. Ooh, what do you think is important in the world? Do you want children? All of that kind of stuff, right? That's about listening. It's not about talking. And this is the thing, when you take something as complex and subtle and all-encompassing as marketing and boil it down into touch points, because then people go, what can I say, rather than how can I build a relationship?
Okay. So just while you were saying towards the back end of that, made me think of Aesop's fable, the wind and the sun, where the wind is almost trying to persuade you, take that coat off, where the sun is attracting you to say, let them take the coats off by themselves because that's the attraction.
Just on that,
Yeah.
That's a really good analogy, because the wind is trying to force the person to take their coat off by making conditions so that they have to. Whereas what the sun does is the sun creates the conditions where the person wants to, which is different. One's trying to push model, marketing. One's trying to put advertising. One trying to pull model, which is actual marketing. You need to understand what the customer wants to get. Because the thing is that, go with me on this one, marketing is actually time travel, right? Marketing's time travel. Everybody in your audience has a problem that they're trying to get rid of, right?
Mhm.
People listening to this podcast have a problem that they're trying to get rid of. They don't want to know more about marketing. What they have is a way to get more traffic, right? They've got a problem with traffic, or they've got a problem with conversion, or they've got a problem with engagement, or they've got a problem with whatever that single thing is. Yeah. So as marketers, what we need to do is understand what the unhappy now is, or the unhappy now, and then go, I see you. I understand that you're unhappy about this. However, there's a future win state where you are satisfied and content. Now, I understand both of those things. So work with me, and our work together will be the bridge between the unhappy now and the satisfied future, right? This isn't about convincing anybody. It's going, do you want this? Do you want this? You want this kind of satisfied future? Fantastic. When we work together, that will happen. So it's a form of time travel. You need to help your audience understand that you understand the problem, right? That it's a real problem. B, that there is a solution to it. There is a future win state, and C, you are the bridge between those two states.
Okay.
And that's you're attracting them towards something that they know they want from a problem that they already know they have.
Okay. So are we saying technically it's the touch points exist, but it's the quality of the touch point? So the example you gave right at the start was the guy at the bus stop who sees the other guy nodding every day. There's no, as you mentioned, I mean to use your words, no iteration in that relationship. It doesn't progress. It's just the same. So there are touch points. However, if one day one strikes a conversation, or they start talking about the football, or they talk about the weather, then that is a different type of the touch point. So are we saying that the touch points, it depends on the quality of the touch point?
What I'm saying is that the word touch points leads people to be lazy.
Okay, so basically they see the word touch point and they think, as long as I'm communicating in any way, shape, or form
Yeah.
with my audience, that classes the touch point. So I've ticked that checkbox and we're done.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So I've got a little bit of an issue with the word you said, iteration. Iteration tends to suggest about repetitive process, right? There needs to more than iteration. It needs to be more about deepening the relationship, asking more questions, listening more, right? The fabulous thing about digital marketing that wasn't available before 1999 is that people can now listen to their audience, their actual audience, not focus groups or people who you've artificially pulled together and all that kind of stuff. I can listen to my audience real time, not just, all right, let me do some market research. We'll come on to market research in a bit, but let me do some market research and ask you your opinions of my stuff. That's not what market research is. That's about product research. But what you can do is you can go and look at Quora or Reddit or Dig or anything like that and go and look at what people are actually complaining about in their everyday life in the area that you're in, right? So you're not even part of the conversation and you can just go and listen to people. And the more kind of social listening you do, the more you can understand what they're actually concerned about or what problems that they're looking for, and then go to where they are with their problem that they already know, rather than go, hi, you don't know me, I make the ABC thing. Here's the reasons why you should buy the ABC thing. If you are my most irritating kind of term in marketing is the word, if you are a marketer, that just tells me that the person has not done their research, right? I know you are a marketer who runs a small business and you don't have enough time to fix your marketing because you think it's low value activity because you're not sure on the return on investment from the work you put in, right? Now that's not a time issue, it's a return on investment issue. If I was going to give you $5,000 for every tweet you posted or every LinkedIn post you post, you would find time to do it because the return on investment is obvious.
Correct.
And this is the thing about iteration. What we need to be thinking about is how can we listen more and how can we deepen a conversation rather than how can I squeeze my message into your everyday life? Because talking about me does not help the dating process. It's talking about you that helps the dating process because you're like, oh, I went on a date with Neil the other day and he just wanted to find out more about me. What a lovely person. He really cares. He's really interested in me as a human. Oh, wow. Maybe I should listen to other things he says because, and this is how marketing is attraction. Marketing is a pull process, not a push process.
Okay. I was going to touch on market research later, but because you mentioned it, it flows directly into one of the questions I was going to ask later on. One of the questions I was going to ask later on, and this is one of my own, a bit of personal bias, one of my gripes. It feels like everyone wants to go straight to being Don Draper. So obviously, anyone who's familiar with the program Mad Men, Don Draper is the fancy executive, drink in his hand, cigarette in his hand, talking about how great an advert should be, and everyone sees this as marketing. So in the modern era, everyone jumps straight to doing Facebook adverts, straight to doing Google ads, rather than actually initially doing the market research, understanding the customer, and basically understanding how do I attract the customer. Because if I did 100 Facebook campaigns and went straight to Facebook campaigns rather than do the research, even statistics would say, I'm sure 5, 10, 20% of the time I want to get it right anyway. So maybe people who do get it right without doing the research think, I don't need to do the research because I get it. Well, what's your thoughts on that?
Empty calories.
Expand.
Energy calories. A couple of things there. Dom Draper is an advertising executive, not a marketing executive.
Okay.
Like I said, advertising is a subset of marketing. And it's very, believe it or not, TV dramas aren't the truth. Right? TV dramas are there to convince you of a certain way of being. It's based on Ogilvy, I believe, who was an amazing advertising person in the 1960s. The world has shifted since then. Right?
Yeah.
The world had 4 mainstream media platforms since then, which was kind of print, television, billboards, radio. That was it. You couldn't listen, you could only talk, and then your demographics were simplistic at best because the people were really difficult to target. Everybody in the world at that point read a newspaper. Everybody watched the same TV channels because there was like 5, right?
Yeah.
So all you had to do was make something a bit sexy or entertaining or whatever and just smash it in. Interruption marketing, for those who are au fait with the kind of current words and whatnot, is interruption marketing. If you interrupt enough people enough times, then they will you'll become top of mind, and then they'll remember you in the supermarket. And there's more than one top of mind. There's top of mind recall and there's top of mind preference. And my favorite example of this is Nigel Farage. Everyone knows who he is, but nobody ever votes for him, right? He's failed 7 general elections in a row, right? That's right. Everybody knows who he is, though. He's on Question Time all the time. People go, oh, that's Nigel Farage. Shall I vote for him? No. Just because you're a member doesn't mean you're chosen. Market research. What market research should be is researching the problem, right? When you're research, right? A common mistake with market research is people put together either a product or a MVP or something, and then they go to talk to people and go, what do you think of this? What do you think? That's not market research. That's piss poor sales. That's just really bad sales. What market research should be is working up a hypothesis, right? I think you have this problem. How right am I? Okay. And you can do this talking to them directly, indirectly. You can use social listening for this. You can do all kinds of stuff. But going out and researching the problem is the key, right? Because people don't buy solutions to problems that they don't feel, which is why things like the Segway failed or Google Glass failed, is because they didn't solve an actual problem. What Segway did and what Google Glass did went, look at the technology, isn't it amazing? And didn't realize that nobody wants to look like a dick on a Segway, or nobody wants to look like you are capturing unauthorized pictures of the general public when you're walking about with your spy glasses on. It didn't solve a problem, right? So the thing that market research should do is go, okay, I think this niche or super niche has this particular problem. And by super niche, you've got kind of a market sector, musicians. You've got a niche, bass players, and then you've got a super niche, which is female heavy metal bass players in Manchester.
Yeah.
Personally, I would recommend going, okay, female heavy metal bass players in Manchester. I think they have this problem. Go and talk to them about, do you have this? I think you might have this problem. And they'll either go, yep, I do, or no, I don't. And then you can ask supplementary questions and dig in a little bit further. Okay, how important is this problem? How important is it for you to fix this problem? It's very important, right? Because if it's not important, they don't feel it, so they're never going to be interested in a solution. Okay, and then the second bit of it is, how urgent is this problem? Because if it's not urgent, they're not going to prioritize the fix, right? So once you understand what a problem is, you have to understand how urgent and how important it is in order to get people involved. And this is what market research is, researching problems, not how interested people are in your possible solutions. Because A, people lie, and B, just because they go, oh, it's a great idea, doesn't necessarily mean they're going to buy it. Your family and friends will lie to you because they love you. Oh, yeah, Kaz, it's a great idea. You should definitely do that. Do you want to buy one, Mum? Maybe not. You know what I mean? So
Right.
get out and just go and find people with problems, because unless you solve the problems, nobody cares.
True. Okay, and I suppose I'm going to backtrack a little bit and go back to something that you mentioned in the last episode, which a couple of people reached out to, for being honest, reached out to both of us and said it'd be great for Neil to provide a bit more clarity on that. One of the things that you mentioned was brand loyalty is a myth. Why do you say brand loyalty is a myth? What do you mean by that?
Okay. Which brands are you loyal to?
I suppose if I was being honest, I'd probably loyal to Apple and Amazon.
Loyal to them.
Yeah, I suppose so.
So if I offered a product that did exactly the same thing at a lower price, you wouldn't be like, I'll take the lower price one.
See, this is the thing. I wouldn't, and I don't know if
Exactly the same thing, Kaz.
no, honestly, because people have asked me this question about Amazon, not Amazon.
Use Apple TV.
No, I don't.
There you go. You're not brand loyal. Because
Okay.
if brand loyalty is a thing, you will do every single thing that they offer.
I don't know, what is that true? Because I'll always buy an iPhone. Samsung could give me a free phone, and I'd still say no. I want my iPhone. But maybe
Yeah.
am I product loyal or am I brand loyal then? But then again, the reason I'm loyal to Apple is because they looked after me so much in the early days of when I first got an iPhone or got an iPad. I'll always remember that. And they'd have to bring out the I hate Kaz iPhone for me to start considering I'm not going to go with that. But even then, I might still be convinced.
Okay. Notice you're not wearing Apple headphones now.
Oh no, I wouldn't, because
Exactly.
yeah.
This is the thing. This is
Okay.
the thing. It's like brand loyalty. Like loyal is I'm in all the way with everything they do.
I don't know,
Right?
would that be true? Because I might be loyal to a supermarket, but I won't buy everything off the shelf. I'd only buy items I want.
Do you shop elsewhere?
Yeah.
Yes. Then you're not loyal.
Okay.
This is the thing. Do we have a strong preference for things? Meh. Yeah, maybe. But what I'm saying is that if we're thinking about what loyalty actually means, is a true commitment to the brand. And while it can have an effect in making decisions happen, I'm not sure that we're ever quote unquote loyal. I think it might shift the needle a little bit, but I think what we are is experience loyal. I think what we do is we like a particular kind of experience and stick to that experience. So if you like adventurous things, we tend to find out things that offer adventurousness. If we are safety conscious, we'll look for things that are the most safe, obviously safety centered. But when it comes to, okay, I'm loyal, which means I buy everything they offer, meh. Maybe football clubs have brand loyalty, right? Because
Yeah.
you're not like, oh, I'll support Leeds today, rather than you're Red Scum supporter, aren't you, man? You're not going to go, oh, today I shall support Brighton, or today I'll support Liverpool,
Yeah.
right? That's loyalty.
Correct.
That's okay. If you were looking for something like, oh, if I'm going to buy a football scarf, you wouldn't look at the marketplace and then weigh up all the alternatives. You go, I'm a Red Scum fan, I'm going to buy one of them, because that's what loyalty means.
Okay.
Right? It means favorite. It means no-brainer choice. It means everything to do with that. You're a married man, Kaz, right?
Yeah.
Do you date other women?
No.
No, exactly, because you're loyal to your missus. Or do you go, I don't like going to the cinema with my wife, I shall try another lady? That's what loyalty is. Loyalty means no decision. And this is what I'm saying, is that brands, with the exception of kind of maybe football teams and like music bands and things like that, that even music kind of groups are a little bit tenuous. But real loyalty is super rare. And what we're chasing is like a white elephant.
Yeah.
We're trying to find something that can't possibly be found. Snipe hunt is a better thing. So rather than try and create loyalty, create a real bloody relationship. The reason why you like your wife is she likes you back. This is the thing, is that brand loyalty is, again, it's a relationship. It's about an exchange of values.
From what you're saying there, it has shifted, I suppose, the needle a little bit on my thinking. Yes, of course, I think my comeback was going to be football clubs, which you rightly mentioned, because you are. But then again, I'm not 100% loyal to United. If I want to buy a scarf or a pair of gloves, I'll buy a scarf or a pair of gloves. I won't necessarily go out and buy a Man United scarf
No,
or a
but
pair of
anything
gloves.
to do with football, how much decision is there in that?
Yeah, if I
Zero.
was, if I,
Zero.
if I'm going to watch a match, I'm going to watch United
If you're
match.
going to buy a football scarf, you buy a United scarf. If you're going to anything to
Yeah.
do with, and this is why loyalty is such a massive misnomer. Do we prefer certain brands? Maybe. Loyalty is such. It's an advertising word, right? It's an old-fashioned. How do you make someone loyal? We can only have a relationship with them. And this is the thing, is that marketing is dating, and the whole thing is about building real relationship built on shared values, win state, mutual kind of appreciation, all of that kind of stuff. That's not loyalty, that's a relationship.
Yeah. I suppose now that you're saying it, because it makes me think, obviously, I suppose it'd be great to get people's thoughts on this, but maybe I trust Apple to do a good job for the phone. So that's why I'm loyal to that particular product. So I don't know.
You have a preference.
Is it preference?
You have a preference. Yeah,
But,
you have a preference. Now, this is the thing, is that how do you make someone loyal? I'm going to come back to this. You can't do something to somebody. This is the thing, is
I mean, sorry to interrupt you, but you're absolutely right. You can't make your wife or your partner loyal to you. They either are or they're not. So I
Yeah.
suppose there's nothing you can do to make it, force it upon them to
Nope.
be loyal.
One of my heroes in the kind of marketing and creativity space is a guy called Jay Kunzo. Amazing work. And he's got this concept, which I've co-opted, is whose favorite are you? And this is more than loyalty. Whose favorite are you? What's your favorite ice cream, Kaz?
Probably mint chocolate, something like that.
Okay, which is the correct answer. That's the best one. That's my favorite, right? Now, if that's available, how long do you think before choosing that one?
Very little.
Zero.
Yeah.
And this is the thing about favorites, is that as a business, we need to be thinking about whose favorite am I in the space, right? And rather than thinking, how do I make them loyal, it flips it around, and it's about relationship development, which is like, how can I become your favorite? Okay. And the reason why how I become your favorite is by understanding what you want and delivering something that's beyond your expectation, and delivers a little bit of wonder and magic and all that kind of stuff, which is why you married your wife, which is why you like Man United. They pay off. Why you like your iPhone. It gives you a little bit more than you were expecting. And it's like, there's a little bit of magic to it, right? And this is the thing about, rather than loyalty, and we could have a semantic argument, but I think a more useful term is, how do I become somebody's favorite? Because that puts the pressure on me rather to become their favorite, rather than them to become loyal. You know what I mean? I'm a Newcastle fan, right? I've hated the last 10 years with Cashley in charge because the football was dull, right? As a Newcastle fan, all we want to see is people running around, and we don't care whether people win. What we like is attractive, attacking football where the manager gives a damn, the players give a damn, and all that kind of stuff. That's what my favorite is. Amazing football, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
I think when you say it, it feels, as a marketer, it makes me feel a bit more happier, and it feels easier, because if someone says loyalty, I can't, like you said, if you said to me, Kaz, what ice cream are you loyal to? I would have been like, what does it even mean? What does he even mean by that?
Exactly.
But if you said to me, what's your favorite ice cream? Like you say, within seconds, I've told
Yeah.
you. So if we, or as marketers or as account managers or whatever, if we can make our clients think, who's my favorite person to get me business cards, or who's my favorite person to run ads, or who's my favorite person to do this, and I like that. Yeah. So if you can become someone's favorite, replace the word loyalty with favorite. That's going to make it easier for you, really.
It puts pressure on me rather than my audience. I have lovers, I have haters. I have very few people are super in between with me, because I'm very marmitey in that kind of respect. And I absolutely don't give a fuck about people who don't get me. I just literally don't, because no amount of me chasing them around will make them like me anymore. However, The people who like me, who get it, are in. And that's great. So I just need to concentrate on them and concentrate on giving them more of what they want, which is a little bit of challenging, direct, maybe unusual thinking to do with marketing. There's a reason why we're having this conversation, is because people went, no, tell me more about this. And that's because I'm coming on it from a slightly different angle. For some people, I am a favorite.
Yeah, okay, no, that's really good and really simplified what may have been is a complicated area. Okay, this takes us on to another question that came up from last time. We're
Okay.
talking about maybes. I suppose, like everyone, we like clarity. We want either a yes or no. But
Yep.
you mentioned maybes. I think I'll just refer to my notes. You said when people say maybe, what they actually mean is
No.
so you rather have that no in advance. So I suppose once again, what would be your response to say someone saying maybe someone no pun intended, but maybe someone just wants a bit of time before they say yes, because if you're selling a high ticket item, you might not say yes straight away. So maybe, so perhaps the word maybe needs to be in there before we get to a yes or a no. What's your thoughts?
Nah. Okay. I'm having a party this weekend, Kaz. I invite you. You say maybe. What do you mean?
There's a likelihood I'm probably not going to go.
Yeah, it means no. It just absolutely means no. What it actually means is I will come if nothing else better shows up, right?
Very true.
Which means no.
No. But if you said to me, Kaz, I've just started this new great business idea, it's very clever, and it was going to be the next iPhone, for example, or whatever it is, then I'm not going to say, yes, I'm in. I'm going to say, oh, hang on, this is interesting. Yeah, I'm holding a conference or holding an open day, you jump along to that. Or what I'm saying is that to get to, because I suppose I'm asking other people's questions, is that because of the trade that we're in and sometimes the fees that are involved and the commitment that's involved, but if you're saying you're going to pay me X amount for the next 12 months, they might not just say yes straight away. But then again, you do have customers who are so keen to start, they'll say, yes, just send me an invoice, we can
Yeah.
get started.
Yeah.
However, you have the others where they've come back to me in 6 months' time and they've said,
Yep.
oh, Kaz, 6 months ago, you sent me this proposal. I wasn't ready then, but can we start now? And I'm like, God, I'd give that up and almost cursing myself for wasting the time and the effort that I'd put into that proposal.
Yep.
Maybe, so I suppose, would that be classed as a maybe turning into a yes rather than a no?
No.
Okay, so
Okay.
thoughts?
First, we need to look at what no means.
Okay.
No does not mean fuck off. No can mean all kinds of things. It can mean not now, not at this price, not configured like this, not smelling like this, not from you, not this heavy, not right. Okay. It is very tempting in business for people to try and avoid the word no, because they think, oh no, I need to, I've wasted all the time, I've wasted all the effort, I've wasted all the, no, they must not like me. It's not really personal. Kind of is, but not in the way people think about it. Getting to know is actually delicious. No's are absolutely fantastic. Firstly, because you go, someone goes, no. And then you go, okay, fantastic. Thank you for being clear. What led you to saying no? What usually happens is you get the no, and then they're like, okay, thanks, bye. So avoiding a no, and I'm all about clarity. So assuming a maybe is a no enables you to go, okay, what are you not seeing that you need to see? Okay. And if you can then say, I'm not seeing the right price, or I'm not seeing the right delivery, or it's not either urgent or important enough.
Yeah, I would agree with that because sometimes people say they're looking for marketing, but you can tell there's no urgency in it. Where others, they're desperate to pay you yesterday because they just want to start.
Then they're not looking for marketing, they're looking for magic words. Many people, I have a lot of this, where people go, oh, can I talk to you about your marketing? And I'm like, okay. So we ask a few questions in terms of what are your current things? Oh, I don't know. What's your current performance? Don't know. How big's your audience? Don't know. What's your current reach, engagement, conversion? Don't know. And I'm like, what are we talking about? And they're like, oh, what's the best way? And what they mean is, tell me the fucking magic words where I can do my marketing in 20 minutes a day, where I don't have to think about it. And all of a sudden, free customers will appear. That's why maybe is a no. because they're not, the problem isn't urgent or important enough, or we haven't made them see it's urgent or important enough for them to go yes. Because if it's not a hell yes, you want people self-selecting as soon and as vehemently as possible, because unless it is a yes, we've failed.
But just sticking on that, wouldn't you think people feel pressured? Because if I was speaking to someone and I said, "Let me think about it," because I'll need to have this. There's things that don't concern them, things that are going on inside my business that I need to clarify first. Maybe I'm waiting for a contract to be signed so I can say yes to this.
Okay.
And maybe I'm just saying maybe because I'm saying, but I don't want to divulge that to them. It's none of their business, frankly. But I'm saying maybe because I want to put a pin in it for a time being,
Okay.
and then I'll come
Take
back
that example. Take that
Okay.
example, right? You go, maybe. And I'm like, okay, what are you seeing that you're not? And you're like, there's some things in my business that I need
Yeah.
to sort out before I can say yes. Okay. When should I get back to you?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
That's not a maybe. That is no, not now.
Okay, then.
And
Yeah.
this is the thing, is that maybe letting people away with maybes is,
What you're saying makes sense now because you're just saying there's a difference. It's either there's a difference between maybe and not now.
what I'm saying is it's either a yes or a no. And we try and soften it by maybe. And generally, when people say maybe, they say no. Your one-time thing when someone came back 6 months later, one swallow does not a summer make. Okay, I would imagine 99% of your maybes were actually polite no's.
I'd probably say 75% were polite no's and 25% converted eventually.
Okay, they came back to you. You didn't chase them, right?
Mm.
And this is the thing: is that what I'm trying to do? The reason why I'm saying a hell yes or a no is I'm trying to save everybody fretting time and chasing
Time.
around time. Do more work in the meeting. When people go maybe, it's like, what are you not seeing? I need to speak to a business partner. What are they going to tell you that you don't know now? Do you need their agreement? What are they going to be? What do they need to see so that they're agreeing? And basically, people are just hedging. They're just hedging no's. Save yourself the time, the emotional effort, and just examine the no. And then if it's just no, not now, fantastic. When do I need to get back to you? Save the effort. The thing is, keeping an open loop, it's called the Zeigarnik effect. It's very draining, and it cripples many early stage business owners where they go, oh, it might come in. You either know whether it will or it won't. If it's a might or a maybe, assume it's a no. Move on.
Okay. And what was that effect you mentioned again?
The Zeigarnik effect.
Okay.
It was developed in Berlin in the 1920s. Zeigarnik noticed it in waiters in Berlin. And what she noticed is that when the orders are still open, she noticed these waiters wandering around in a bustly kind of Parisian cafe. And she noticed that when the loops in their head were open, they could remember everything on the order. But as soon as they'd closed the order off, gone. So they did some experiments around this, and many of us feel overwhelmed and drawn and like we don't have enough energy because we're maintaining too many open loops. This is the Zeigarnik effect. What I'm recommending, make use of the Zeigarnik effect and close the loops where you can. Move on to something, get some closure. If you're hanging about, dithering about a maybe, you're ignoring somebody else who might be hell yeah. Stop wasting time on people who aren't valuing you. Who would you rather work with? A 10 who is 10 out of 10 all the way in, completely gets it, really wants to work with you, or a 4 who's maybe, can we just fiddle on with this? And maybe
Yeah. So it might almost be a advance notice for what the future might look like because
100%. It is
you're all
exactly an indicator of what the future is going to be. Because they're going to dither, they're going to scope creep you, they're going to mess around with stuff, they're going to not be fully in, they're going to be.
Yeah, I think that we've all definitely experienced that when we've closed a client, we've been really happy, but every time you show them copy, every time you show them a graphic, every time you show them creative, oh, I'm not sure, can you just,
Yeah.
and you end up spending so much time on it, you're almost waiting for them to leave you rather than have to do any more work.
Fire them immediately.
Okay, and I know time really is pressing on, so I'm going to be cheeky enough to get one more question in,
Okay.
and then we'll try to wrap it up. A question I get quite a lot, and it would be great to get your thoughts on this, is as we know, all businesses aren't Apple or Amazon. We put our blood, sweat, and tears into it. We have a limited budget, and yes, if budget wasn't a factor, we'd like to do a whole range of marketing. So, if a business has a limited budget, what channels would you suggest they use? I'm not asking you just to say use this, but this is a question they'll have, and you want to help them. And in the past, during COVID, you could get away with it because everyone was online, so you knew what we could potentially use. But yeah, what's your thoughts? Is there any recommendations for people running marketing on a limited budget?
Yeah, loads. And my day rate is reassuringly expensive. Firstly, you said that not all businesses are Apple or Amazon. No businesses are Apple or Amazon, right? They are absolute unicorns of businesses. They're very rare and unusual. And this is, stop taking business advice from people who are stratospherically important. Gary Vaynerchuk. How can what he says be applicable to a corner shop florist, right? Maybe he talks about his wine shop. They were turning over $6 million when he took over, right? Only look for marketing advice for people who are like 2 or 3 steps ahead of you, right? Look for business advice or look for teaching from somebody who is like a year older than you or 2 years older than you. Getting advice from multi-billionaires, absolutely not useful, right? Look at who's 2 steps ahead and model what they do. The simple answer is, for where best to put your marketing, what channel's the best one? The one your customers are on and use, right? I could say, TikTok or Be Real or any of the other novelty, niche, and unusual things, right? It's not about the channels, it's about the relationships. If I want to find golfers, where's the best place to find golfers?
On a golf course?
Golf clubs, exactly, right? And he's like, would TikTok be better? Would LinkedIn be better? You'd be better off going down the golf club and talking to them and building real relationships. And this is the thing about marketing being relationships. You have to go where they are, talk in their language about things they care about and problems they already know they have.
Okay.
This is the bit about marketing. It's not broadcast anymore. If you think about how you read your social, you don't read your social. That's a fantastic post. I think I'll read another one. Another tremendous tweet. I'll read another one. Right? You read it like that. You sweep it and then pick the thing that jumps out at you. Right? And that is a neurotransmitter called dopamine, which is, that's what triggers the kind of choosing what to read it, because it's going to pay off in some way. It's going to be useful, entertaining, informative, sexy, or outrageous, right? Most channels are configured for outrage because people tend to respond more to things they disagree with than they agree with. Hence why my Twitter feed is full of right-wing idiots. Even though I don't follow any of them, Twitter puts them in front of me, so I'll argue with them, and they get more time on platform and more reach and engagement.
Yeah.
Facebook is configured for outrage as well.
Yeah.
So the key thing, the best thing you can do for your marketing is understand really clearly about who your market is, right? It's not musicians. It's not bass players. It's female heavy metal bass players from Manchester. And that goes, once you understand who they are, you can go, where do I need to hang about? I could put some stuff in Johnny Roadhouse's music. I could look at the music networks of Manchester. I could look at the heavy metal clubs of Manchester. I could look at the bass player networks of Manchester. I could look at the female musician, right? And that way I can start going to where they are rather than going, are they on TikTok? Are they on LinkedIn? It all good marketing starts with listening. And you can't just do that to people. You have to go where they are and talk to people about what they actually care about.
That's very well put and nicely wraps up what we've been doing today. I know I can't let you go without mentioning what you've been doing because I've been seeing a lot of you. I think it's a Great Manchester Business School. Every time I hear of Great Manchester Business School, you seem to be doing an event there or involved in something. Do you want to give me an idea of what you guys are doing? Because I know last time you were on the podcast, I think on that particular day you just launched Kin Awesome, which was a new website. I know since then it has evolved, and
Blimey.
you're now working on them. Is it called Kinsiders?
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. Wow. Just launched the Kin website, man. That's nuts. That's quite some time ago. Yeah. Kin, what we do is we help business owners get out of their own way, generally. We've worked with, over the last kind of 5 years, maybe 700 businesses or so over the last kind of 5-6 years. And what we've noticed is that nobody has a knowing problem, right? There's all kinds of information on the internet. You can learn anything you want, right? So you can learn how to do marketing, how to do finances, how to do all the other kind of different kinds of stuff. And so it's not a knowing problem, it's a doing problem, right? It's an accountability problem. What we found is that most business owners know what they need to do. They just either chicken out of doing it, or they do stuff that they feel comfortable with rather than uncomfortable with, or they do stuff that they know rather than things that they should do. So what we've done is we've set up Kinsiders, which is, it's an accountability group, basically. It is a group for people who want to get more done on a weekly basis in terms of business growth tasks rather than business as usual tasks. Because believe it or not, answering your emails ain't going to grow your business. It just isn't. And when you think about what you do on a daily basis, you probably get up in the morning, you open your laptop or switch your system on, and the first thing you do, Kaz, is you look at your email inbox, right?
Yeah.
You are instantly putting control of your business into the hands of other people because you go, oh, I'll just answer these emails. And then you answer the emails and then it's lunchtime. And then I'll just do such and such. And what you end up doing is business as usual all the time. So if you want to grow your business, learn the difference between business as usual tasks and growth tasks and prioritize those. And once you understand what your growth tasks are, you can put them first thing in your day, answer your emails at lunchtime. Nobody's ever going to be tapping their foot going, I was expecting this email 3 hours ago. They're just not. So what we do is we've got a group where we challenge people with stretchy growth tasks on a monthly basis, and then we help them stay accountable to themselves, offer a lot of congratulations, and it's about transformation, not information. And what we're seeing is that people are about 400 to 500% more productive in terms of like growth tasks with the stuff when they're working with us than if they're just on their own. Because they get held accountable, because working on your own, we don't have a boss.
Correct.
So then we don't get the, where is this? But
Yes.
we also don't get the amazing job, Kaz. Well done, fella. That's amazing. I can really see how much effort you put into that. So what we've done is we've built Kinsiders, which is a fabulously nurturing community for people who want to do challenging things and want to get proper love and congratulation for the work that they put into their own business.
Okay, that's good. I think what's the best way to get in? I know we've put your details up on the screen throughout the podcast, but I think if you want to join Kinsiders, I've put the address on the group. So if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, it's kin-awesome.newzenler.com.
Yeah, New Zenler's we manage everything through the New Zenler platform, which is, it means it's basically a LMS, a learning management system. So Kinsiders is one thing we do. We've got a load of new short courses coming up on how to remove self-sabotage, how to become more confident, how to understand the friction score of your product, which is everything in your business is either fuel or friction. What usually we don't understand is how much friction our products and services have within the system. So what we've got is we've got a new course coming on, which is understanding how much friction there is in your current product. And once you understand where the friction is, then an action plan just drops out the back of it. And there's a load of little things coming on like that, which is like real challenge problems to do with the growth stuff rather than tell me how to do marketing, tell me how to do this. Because frankly, go to YouTube. Right. If you want that, go to YouTube. If you want the clever, pointy stuff, then come and join us at Kinsiders, where we will challenge you to become 500% more effective in your own business than you currently are. And I guarantee you can do it.
Good stuff. Yeah, so if anyone's interested and would like to be part of or be a Kinsider, obviously the website's there. Also, just on that, it made me think about something that Mark Zuckerberg said once. He, at the risk of picking big companies, people asked him, "Oh, you must have been really happy when you got the money from Peter Thiel in the early days of setting up Facebook." And he said, to be honest, it wasn't the money that was important. It was telling us what to do on a daily basis. Going back to your example, should he be answering emails? Should he be building this? Should he be working on the wall? Should he be doing that? And he said what Peter Thiel did was he looked at his business and said, focus on this. This will give you the most value. And I almost summarize what you've just said. It makes people a lot more productive within their own businesses.
Exactly. Getting you out of your own way is how we put it.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you as always, Neil. And I thought today was going to be enough, but I've got a sneaky suspicion we might even need a part 3, but we'll see how it goes. But once again, thank you for your time. It's always appreciated. If anyone wants to get in touch with Neil, you've got the details there for Kinsiders, but also he's always active on LinkedIn. There's his email and website address there as well. So you can go to kinawesome.co.uk or neil@kinawesome.co.uk is his email. So yeah, feel free to get in touch. And yeah, once again, thank you very much, Neil, and take care.
Fantastic, Kaz. Thank you very much for having me.
You've been listening to the Kaz Lalji Digital Marketing Podcast. Thanks for joining us, and remember to follow to learn about our latest content.